Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz & Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz & Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Mindy Altemose. She is a board-certified orthodontist and a mama based in Massachusetts. How are you doing today, Mindy?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for agreeing to be part of this collective or movement I'm growing here. I appreciate you being here and taking the time out to chat with me and share a bit about your story and your journey.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. So let's jump right in. You are an orthodontist based in Massachusetts. How long have you been an orthodontist?
Yeah, so I've been an orthodontist for almost 5 years now, practicing ortho. So how it works is dentists are trained for 4 years after college and then an additional 3 years of residency. So then 5 years of ortho after that. So it's been a bit of a journey.
12 years?
I'm not saying that it's yes, I think it's that just about another high school. I might be one year shy of another high school. Yeah, of another like whole schooling. Yeah. So yes, it's a lot, but it's the only way that you get to do this wonderful profession. So when you're in it, you don't even know it, and then you look out and you're like, wow, it's been that long, huh?
That's a lot of time to put in.
Yes.
But as long as you love it and you come out happy and loving what you do, then I guess, like you said, the time just kind of melts away and you don't even realize it, right?
100%. Yeah. And there's no other way to get to this point. So that's when that had become what it is that I wanted to do, that's kind of, there's no other choice in the matter. So that's kind of how it works.
You just got to kind of roll up your sleeves and dig in, right?
Oh yeah, it's total tunnel vision of it's kind of more like what's the next step? And honestly, when I started the journey, it wasn't necessarily to specialize and do the additional training. It was and it wasn't necessarily to even be a dentist at one point. And so you just kept taking the next step and the next step, and then as it turns out, that's how long it takes in the end.
So what was the inspiration or drive behind you becoming a dentist / orthodontist?
Yeah. So, something I've always wanted to be was a scientist. And even from a young age, I think that in reflecting back on how I got to this point, it's having a wonderful science teacher who really inspired me. And I think a lot of it was I was attuned to that kind of learning, but then having a wonderful mentor who kind of pushed me into this science competition where we started 8th grade. We did it, my sister and I, our whole, all throughout high school every year. And I loved it. I loved thinking about science. And so I thought I was going to be a researcher.
Yeah.
Well, I went to undergraduate, studied molecular biology, and I loved learning about it. And I worked in the field right away, got my first job as soon as I could in a lab, and I liked it. And as I learned more about it, I figured out that it wasn't a great fit for me because it was a lot of time spent in the lab doing especially in molecular genetics, very titrated tests over and over again to do that. So basically, I found out it wasn't for me. Luckily, I had spent time in undergrad doing that. So I looked around and said, what do I going to do with this degree? Which I think oftentimes people might feel that way if they're not sure once they get into it. And that's when luckily biology does translate to the health field. And so I was able to kind of shadow different doctors, vets, dentists. And I found that like medical doctors, and I found that in my experience of shadowing, which wasn't obviously extensive in any means, I did the best that I could with whom I knew, which is not that many. And I found out that I liked dentistry maybe because they actually got to do something every day. So like if someone was in pain, they came in, they took the tooth out, right? Or, you know what I'm saying? And so a lot of that felt right to me. And I had a bit of an art flair as well. And so I just said, well, I'm going to give it a try. And that's how the story went. And so it wasn't a clear path by any means. There was a lot of changing of coursing and very stressful
a very winding
time.
road.
That's right. And a lot of pieces had to fall into place and had to make decisions that, of course, no one knows if it's right. But luckily for me, as it turns out, each turn seemed to lead me to what I think I was really meant to do, which is orthodontics.
Awesome. Now, you work at Mansfield Orthodontics. Is that your own clinic, your own business?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I opened from scratch, as they say, brick and mortar business, no different than any other brick and mortar business, which of course is very challenging during these times. And so for me being an orthodontist, that's the only way to do the business. There's no digital component of that. And so I opened that December of 2019, which was just really perfect timing as it turned out with the world and what it had been doing. And so sadly, just months after I opened, I had to shut my doors down, and I'm in Massachusetts where fairly more significant had happened. And so I had been shut down for several months and just recently got to open. But I'm so grateful for the community that I'm in and what I do, because luckily it's reopened just fine, and people are actually somewhat more excited, especially adults, being on Zoom all day and things of that nature, wearing a mask to actually do something about. They see their teeth more, and then they want to actually do something, and they have the ability to kind of disguise it maybe a bit behind their mask, as it were. And so that all became lucky, but it is certainly a trial and fire and learning, shooting from the hip sometime, the things that have to do with the brick and mortar business itself. So it's been a wild learning curve.
Very challenging times, right?
That's right. Yeah, it has been challenging. And luckily, everyone's been able to work with me to allow the business to still survive through that period, in which obviously little cash flow and able to then be able to open and bring the care to the patients, and everything has just picked up to where it ought to be. So I'm so grateful for that.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. That's amazing.
Yes.
So I read that you've designed a truly unique orthodontic experience at your clinic. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I think, wow. So, in opening a practice, of course, one can practice, in any kind of where you're giving a client service under somebody else, or you can choose to use what you've learned and create a different experience and do it on your own.
Right.
And I think for me, I wanted to make sure that why was I doing it? Because of course, it's quite simple to just go to work, do wonderful quality work, and then go home. When you own a business, there's a lot more involved. And so I wanted to make sure that I created something different and an experience I just wasn't finding in other places that I'd worked. And thus, what I wanted to do was create a kind of a bit of like a transformative experience, or an experience where you walk in and you don't feel like you're at a sterile dental, run-of-the-mill office, kind of like a Disney World. You're in the swamp in Florida, right? Technically, but you are under the sea, or you're in Star Wars, or you're at a different place. And so, even for a moment, I'm not certainly comparing myself to Disney, but I am a big Disney fan. So
but that's something outside of that, as you said, that sterile dental office feeling.
That's right. Yeah. And so, obviously we have to do things slightly different now with COVID, but, I wanted to make sure all the senses, we can make sure that it's positive experience. So we have, we have aromatherapy in our waiting room. We had, and this is what we can't have anymore, healthy snacks and beverages and coffee, and kind of like that concierge, our front desk serves that as if you were at a spa. We have, like a little homework station for, we all have a lot of families where they can do things. We want it to feel like, you just at like a cool bookshop or something like that. And so that's one thing. And then obviously the other thing is I wanted it to be based on creating an experience for the patient where it's uplifting. And that we respect their time, because one of the things that in any industry you can't get back is time, right? We can get more money, right? But we can get more things, but we can never get back more time. And so we have looked at literally every step of the orthodontic process and saying, how can we save a visit? How can we save 5 minutes? How can we make these forms electronic and pre-fill in their name so that way they don't have to spend the time writing their name again and writing their date of birth again? We have all that. So we've thought about every step of the process, and I really, truly value patients' time because I'm a mom of 2 and I know how busy it is to be a mom or a working professional, and I want to value that. So in those kind of ways, we've tried to create a unique experience for patients that they feel like they're truly part, that we really care about their time. They're part of a family, and that, that they're having a wonderful experience while they're with us. And it's fun. It's not stuffy. It's a different kind of experience.
It's relaxed.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's a good word. Yeah.
Now, did you know all along, like when you decided upon being an orthodontist, did you know from when you decided that you didn't want to work under someone else and you wanted to open your own practice?
You know what? I did. Yes.
Okay.
I always wanted to, because I had seen just what was out there. And I know there must be other orthodontists that do wonderful patient experience as well. And I love traveling. A good tip is like people in your own profession going to different counties or states and going and seeing how they do it, because you can always learn so much. And I've seen that, but I knew that I just was different. How I practiced was a little different. And I wanted to make sure that I wanted people to feel the way I wanted them to feel. And I just had seen so much of people feeling like a number, or also like that they were bad for asking a question. Like, this is my time is so valuable. And I just like really didn't want to sometimes you don't have as much control over those kinds of things. So I did want to, I wanted to have fun at work too, and do fun things for the patients and like have events. So I've always kind of, and I love that, like that stuff I love. And so I've always kind of knew that this is the direction I wanted to go in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, when going through your schooling for dentistry, you graduated with honors and a distinction for your work with the Homeless Healthcare Initiative. Can you tell us a bit about your work with that organization and about the organization itself?
Yes. Wow. Yes, that was in dental school. So in Philadelphia, where I went to school, you were able to, one of the things that spoke to me when I got into it, there's all different kinds of tracks and different things you can do above and beyond, obviously the school education itself. And so I wanted to, when I heard about working and volunteering, it's something I'd always done. And so I really love this idea of giving back. And so a mentor of mine, my big, as it were, you have like a big whom is a year above you and helps guide you through the tribulations of dental school. And so she had like wanted to help start this process of working with the homeless healthcare initiative and working into it. And so I kind of jumped right on as well. And so basically how it worked was every week would go, there'd be new, it's usually just mothers and children, but sometimes there'd be also fathers. And we would do screenings for different types of screenings for the children, learning about, a lot of it actually was about education, a lot of miscommunications in different populations about oral care. A huge example of one of the populations we served in downtown Philly was there was just a trend of putting honey on pacifiers to put children to bed, to help keep it in their mouth, to help them sleep through the night. And of course, sleeping through the night is very important for mother and baby, to have a thriving, growing life for both parties. However, obviously that's not a good choice, right? Because it can, having sugar in the mouth overnight, we were just seeing a wild amount of cavities. And so it seems common knowledge, but certainly it's not. And so we would get, information about how much sugar is in different drinks. So anyways, we did this kind of education and really got to like help children feel and touch things that made more sense to them about choosing different kinds of snacks, and then doing really brief exams, and then helping them direct them to the care they needed. And we would get different people every week in there, and sometimes the same people. And it was just a wonderful way to help give back to this population.
Yeah, that must have been such rewarding work to be able to be part of this organization.
Yes. Yeah. Because you could see real impact, even just by the education component itself, because we didn't do any work clinically there. We just kind of screened and sent them where they needed to go. It just was
Right.
probably, very life-changing. These children who have a lot of cavities as young babies are usually have to be sent to the OR to get them fixed. And nobody wants that. That's
No.
horrifying. So I was so grateful to be a part of spreading the word and help kind of co-start something that we have continued, or that has continued with the University of Pennsylvania and this particular coalition. As far as I know, even to this day, hopefully. So, yeah.
That's amazing. What do you love most about your career?
My career what I get to do is just so much fun, in that we take, what's wonderful is nobody's in pain usually, right? It's not an emergency situation. So
Right.
we get to take people who are coming to us because they truly want to be there and they are committed to changing their smile, their bite, their teeth. And we get to help them achieve the goals that they are looking to achieve. And it's just so gratifying to do that for adults and for children, and also know how many things we're helping. It's not just about a beautiful smile. It's about that healthy bite as well, that in the future will give so many additional problems if not treated. And so I love that we get to kind of give this experience to them and give them something that will give them a lifetime of confidence.
Is your work focused primarily on children, or does it run the
Yeah,
gamut?
good question. Yes, because a lot of people think that, but oddly enough, my practice is definitely majority adults, as it were. And so certainly I love children. That's, if truth be told, that's my favorite, because it's just such a fun age. It's such a hard age for a lot of kids as well, early teenage years. And I want to be a positive moment in that child's day. And I love to find ways to help motivate and make it positive for the kids, and show them how special they are, just using my words and just our time, because we spend sometimes up to 2 years together. So we've got a really wonderful relationship. So I love the kids, but no, we treat adults. My oldest adult is 82 years old that I have in treatment. So I used to say 6 to 76, but I've beaten that now. And so, and I love helping anybody achieve any goal that it is they want. And I'm here for that. Yes.
What, other than dentistry and orthodontics, what is a passion of yours that you rarely share with people, and why not?
Oh, good question. A couple quick come to mind. So one is that I really am I'm a podcast junkie, as it were. I love podcasts, and a majority of them are either story-based or self-help, motivational, growth, leadership. I love that kind of stuff. I wish I was a great reader. I'm learning to be a better reader. And so all my books, I've got a huge shelf of wonderful, motivational books on leadership and growth, personal growth and development, minimalism, all these wonderful things. But the podcast is where I love. And the second thing that I am passionate about is really horrible TV. I love The Office. That's something I'm super into. So I can't get enough of their podcasts about them and their life. And that kind of stuff. I don't know if passion is the right word, but it's something that I love to do and to watch and kind of unwind. So yeah, podcasts for sure are the number one thing.
Awesome.
Self-help. Yeah.
Well, and look at you now. And now you're on a podcast. So there you go.
There you go. Yes. I love it.
It's great to have you here, and thank you again for agreeing to be part of it.
Yes, I love this podcast. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much.
What would you say was a turning point in your life, and how did it affect you?
Yeah. I think that the turning point for me, and I kind of mentioned it briefly before, is when for the career choice that I have, is when I was going for something that I thought I wanted to do since literally 8th grade. And I got into college and I had my first semester and I loved it. And then as I would learn more about what the career itself involved, I found it wasn't a fit for me. I had to make a choice. Did I want to give it a shot, or did I want to change course completely? And honestly, no one in my family is in healthcare. not a nurse, nobody's in healthcare at all. And so it was a really scary decision to do something. I think sometimes we suffer from, well, I don't know anybody who does it, so I'm maybe not necessarily good enough. And so luckily I had a friend whose father was a physician. And so I was able to, through talking with him, and then just trying to find out what else I could do with this career, this like biology degree that I did love the information, but not the work. That's where I was able to kind of turn it around, shadow people, learn more about who they were. And you put that kind of health career on like a different pedestal sometimes, or at least I did. And I had to see that maybe it was something that was in my reach and achievable. And then a little bit, I didn't know what was in my reach because I didn't even know much about dental school. It was kind of like a blessing to be naive to what it takes and how hard, all that stuff for me. And then I tried and I got in and I thought, well, I'll never be able to be an orthodontist. That's the top of the top. And I happened to have a friend who was a best friend of mine who worked in an ortho office. Her mom worked in an ortho office. She knew from the beginning that's all she wanted. And she was like me. So I said, well, if she can do it, I would love to try. So then I tried and did it. So it all worked out for that. But that the initial turning point was kind of deciding, I made a mistake, maybe one might say, in what I thought I wanted. And instead of just pushing through it, really pivoting as quickly as I could and just trying something new that happened to fit for me. Yeah.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I can move teeth with a magic wand. No, I'm just kidding. No, wouldn't that be something? No. So my magic or superhero skill, as it were, I think is in communicating with people and being able to, which is why another reason the scientific life I didn't feel was fitting into my skill, maybe my skill set or my needs. I loved meeting new people, learning. I think being able to be in any kind of room and kind of fit in and be able to get in conversations that are meaningful with all kinds of different people, perhaps isn't a skill set that everybody has. And so that might be something that I value very much is that ability, if that makes any sense. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. That makes total sense. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
Best self. I think under the inspired maybe word, I feel most inspired or most like in line when I have my great morning routine was executed and not interrupted by a crying toddler, and I have a clutter-free space to work in. They say if you have clutter outside of you, your mind can't be is also cluttered. And I truly, for me, that rings true 100%. In fact, oftentimes I have to clean up like the living room if there's a couple toys or the rug's not whatever exactly where it should be before I sit down to work. I just did this last night. My husband's like, "What are you doing? You just wasted 5 minutes." And I said, "I'm not, because I will feel better about doing work and getting there." So I think like I feel most inspired when kind of the mood is set, also like a great cup of coffee, a nice like fuzzy blanket, all those kinds of things. So that's kind of my most inspirational kind of like morning and then like place to get into work. So that would be that.
Love it. What would you say, I mean, aside from COVID, because this has affected everybody's business around the world, but what is the biggest pain point that you've been dealing with in your business these days? I mean, again, aside from COVID, is there anything that sticks out?
Yes. I think because I was such a new baby business owner before COVID, I still struggle, and perhaps others do as well, with a term that I don't like, which is balancing it all, or feeling like you're not, I love what I do. I never really was on social media before I had a business, but I love doing the social media, the marketing, because of the connections I've formed with people I've never even met, and around the country, and also local small businesses. And so I love the treatment planning. I love doing all the pieces of my business. Now I could do without some, like QuickBooks and all that kind of stuff, but I love a lot of it. And so I love doing it. So I want to be doing it all the time, but I also love being with my children, as it were. And so it's the wearing of the multiple hats and figuring out what makes sense and not defining what makes sense for me based on other people. Right. So there are other people who own a business, who just started their orthodontic business, who have young babies, who feel very differently than me about certain things, and trying not to judge myself about how others might, how others might want to spend their time. They're not spending their time at me, right? They're doing what works for them, and I need to find what does for me. And that was very challenging. It was even challenging before owning a business, but it's ever so more now. And I have actually found somewhat of a groove, and then it changes. With time as the children age, I'm sure everything will change and move. But just being really flexible with myself, and finding that balance, that's been just, because I could work on it all the time. I love it, and it's so new right now and exciting. But I want to balance it with everything, and that's just this. It's just very challenging.
Balance is tough. I mean, running a business and being a mom or being a parent, running a business and trying to, it's a lot to balance it. And you have to be careful, because you don't want to burn yourself out and have it affect your business or your home and personal life. It's a very tough balancing act, but it is possible. And if you put things into place, it makes it a lot easier.
That's right. I have some hard and fast rules that I don't change from, about tucking in and all that kind of stuff. And I don't like to mention it because you always feel bad, because some moms always want to pick their kids up, and that's a wonderful and great thing to do. And you don't want to say, well, I'm not doing that, or she's doing that. And I think it's so hard. We get caught up in what everybody's doing in maybe a similar situation to us. And it's good to do what works for you and be right with that, because what's right for you is right for your children. Yes, right. And so if you are in a good balanced place, that will be wonderful for the children as well, because they'll see you at your best. And so I've been trying to, I get all this from all the mentors that don't know who I am, from these different podcasts and things like that, who talk about all these wonderful topics. And I'm really trying to work on really solidifying that for myself.
Good for you. It's necessary for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Who would you say have been the 3 most influential people in your life?
Yes. I think what's interesting is I have influential people in my life who don't know I exist. So these are people that I listen to, who I would call business mentors of mine, who've been so influential to help me in defining my own voice as an entrepreneur and my own work ethic and how I do things, because, things are changing in our industry and it's not always the same. So I think for me, it's people like, just to name 3, I'm just trying to name one in this kind of category. I love, for example, Gary V is a big person for me. He's awesome. I've been so grateful to have him, because he just says a lot of things I need to hear. So I might be something like that, or Stacy Tushel, whom is a little bit smaller of a fish, but she does a lot of information about. She started a brick and mortar store as well. It happened to be dance, and now it's a wonderful podcast and is a young mom, slightly older kids, but she gives a lot of wonderful advice that just from someone who's been where I am and now has grown into something so different. So those would be influential people that don't even know I exist, which I love that this time and age we're in, I'm able to hear their voice once a week. Right. I mean, this is a wonderful thing, instead of reading a book. And then I would say, as far as the other 2 go, one would be my grandparents. They, they lived across the street from me. They still are alive. I'm so blessed. And they also still live across the street from my family home. And so back in Pennsylvania, and they took me around to nursing homes when I was young to visit their friends and also family members. And from a young age, I learned how to talk to, and my grandfather has a gift of gab. He could sit next to a tree and have a conversation. So learning from them about that situation, he always finds someone to talk about baseball with, is a joke. And so he learning from them about that thing. And then also just they're a second set of parents for me. They were so supportive. I played softball in college and traveling to everywhere I was, just like my parents. And it was, they're very special to me. And then, of course, my husband's been through a lot of transformations, and he's been so supportive of this huge risk of opening a practice.
Yeah.
It's been influential to me to have a support person whom is willing to change a lot of things in our personal life in order to support this goal of mine to help people achieve the smile they've always wanted, and do it in a way that I love to do it. So those would be my three.
Awesome. I think a support system is absolutely key. That is probably, if not the most important, one of the most important things or necessary things when you're starting a business is having that support system in place, because without that, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yes, it's imperative, and for me, it would have been a no starter without it, because there's just so many other things that we need to take care of. And he believed in this dream just as much as I did, and said, if we need to do it, you've been out for a couple of years now, you've wanted to do this, and let's go. So
let's just do it.
Yeah, you better just do it, because it never is going to be a good time.
You're right. There never is. It's same thing as kids. There's never a perfect time to have children. There's never a perfect time to start a business. You just got to do it.
Right. And you know what? I did choose a perfect time, didn't I? Right before COVID. I know a couple businesses, so I really didn't pick it, right? But I actually know a couple businesses who were supposed to open in March, locally, or a restaurant, and one other. And that really is probably the worst. So I at least got a few months in. But
yes, so that's true.
There's no time that's perfect. We actually moved. I opened it while I was moving. We were in New York, and then in upstate New York, and then we moved to be near family in Massachusetts. So, you know what? You can do anything that you have the support to do. You're absolutely right.
For sure. What would you say is one of your favorite quotes?
As far as a favorite quote, this one just comes to mind. I'm sure there are others. I'm not wonderful with quotes, which is what one man, and I'm going to abbreviate to woman, but one man can do, another can do. So what one man can do, another can do. And I think that if someone has done the thing that I'm trying to do before, I can do it. Right. Yeah. If someone has taken a little tiny baby office and made it something super impactful in the community, been able to use it to give back and be bountiful and help so many people, I can do that same thing too. And every step of the way, if someone can learn how to do Facebook ads, I can do that. If someone has learned, just every step, you kind of keep doing the next thing and the next thing. And so that's been helpful for me.
Excellent. What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
Ooh, so many. The best pieces of advice I've ever received. I might be combining two here.
That's okay.
One is, this one came from someone in the dental space, was don't take peanuts from the peanut gallery or something like that. Another way of saying it is, I know that's not right. I'm trying to remember. Something like, unless they are in the ring with you, unless they're doing the same, unless they're in the ring with you, they're in the same fight as you, they don't have a place to say their opinion. They can't know what you're going through. Meaning, a lot of people have judgment, especially when it comes around maybe being a working mom, maybe starting a business, maybe changing from a very well-paying job to doing something brand new and starting from scratch. Whatever the case may be, you can think about it in a million different ways. But unless they've done the very thing in which you are trying to do, their opinion shouldn't hold a lot of weight, right? And even other people in business and different businesses, Facebook never gives you a return, or it's going to take years for you to make money, or whatever the case may be. There, you have to say thank you for the piece of advice. Yeah. We don't need to be rude, and then that's it. And then we move on. Let that internalize. And there's been a lot of that in the startup process, as there should be. People always are trying to be well-intentioned, of course. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you just have to say, yes, thank you so much, and move along with the next thing.
I like the peanut gallery analogy.
Yeah. I was I know there's something about, yes, that's what it is. Yes.
I like that one. That one's better. I think I would use that one. How do you define success, Mindy? What does that word mean to you?
I think success is doing what you love and loving what you're doing. Being able to do something that you love to do, and that allows you to have the life it is that you wish to have.
Beautiful. I love
Pretty
it.
simple.
Yeah, that is simple and straightforward to the point.
That's
It's
right.
so much truth there, though. I mean,
Right.
why do something that you're miserable doing? And I mean, I was in that position I worked at an accounting firm for 12 and a half years as an audiovisual tech. And I would
Oh,
say the
wow.
last 5 years of that, I was miserable. I hated going in, and
Wow.
it's just I mean, life is short. You should do the things you want to do and do the things you love doing. We're
That's
only here
right.
for a short time.
That's right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's definitely true. And as you know, probably, I'm sure, you spend so much time hating something and then you go home and you're still kind of thinking about it. And then the
Yeah,
life just transforms into something that you didn't sign up for, I would imagine.
that's right. How would you like to be remembered?
So this is an interesting question. And when I formed this business, I made sure that I had an idea of what I wanted to be known for in the community for my work, what I wanted to be remembered by, and how I was going to give back. Because from what I had told you in my previous experience, I've tried to weave giving back into anything I do because it just makes it so much more exciting for us. And so the remembered piece I actually know because I've thought a lot about this. And I want to be known as someone who has cared passionately for their community, friends, family, and then the people who actually live in the community, who's someone who was disproportionately empathetic, who was a wonderful listener, who was able to have the best interest of any patient person that's walking down the street in mind first. And something that I wanted to have maybe as like a something that lives on. I'm thinking I can't think of the word that I'm
Legacy?
going for here. There it is. Yep. I'm not great with words, but so sometimes I'll pop in and out. Legacy is I would love for my legacy of how I'm remembered. I'd love to give back to the community. This is like I'm not sure if this is what you're meaning, but like a playground. I'd love to be able to put back into the community in which that I serve, a playground that is for all types of needs and all different types of abilities, and because there's not a lot of that kind of stuff, and fenced in, and something where brings a lot of joy. My tagline is spread joy, smile boldly. So it brings a lot of joy to every child and parent, and in a safe and in a fun way. And so that's how I want to be remembered in the community, and also something like that would live on as a legacy beyond, of course, the orthodontics. People will remember the smiles I create, but this could be something that people remember for years past where I am at. So that's just something that I'm working towards in the beginning stages, obviously, but
you'll get there. I love that tagline. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes. Thanks.
If you were guaranteed the correct answer to one question in life, what would you ask?
Wow. Well, that's an easy question. Let me just answer that right away. One answer to one question. What would I ask? So I'm just going to think of something that's been on my mind a bit recently. Is I would ask something to the effect of what can we do to best preserve our earth, or what can we do? What is the thing? What's the guideline to bring our world back, to preserve it and keep it healthy and for generations to come? Awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
That would be good to know for sure.
Yeah. I think it's important. And I don't spend nearly enough time that I'd like to thinking about this kind of a question. So yeah.
You need to stay up more and solve the world's problems. Stay up late at night and solve the world's problems.
I know, but yes, there's always things we could be doing.
And be a mom and run a business and.
That's right. Well, yes, I got extra hours in the day. No, I'm just teasing. Yes, no, that would be a wonderful thing to learn. And it's just such a complicated, complex, and weirdly political. It's just a hard topic. So
it is for sure. It is. How would you describe yourself in one word?
I have no idea. Maybe like kind, or like maybe joyful. That seems to work. Yeah.
Yeah. What makes you smile?
All right. This is the easy one. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
A smile.
A smile. Smiles are contagious, as they say.
Smiles are not only are they contagious,
they're free.
They are free. You don't have to pay for them. And
That's
they
right.
provide so many benefits, like from the molecular level in your brain. They release different kinds of like neurotransmitters and peptides that like help act as though to help to reduce anxiety and lower blood pressure, and some endorphins sometimes are released. There are just so many things that happen from a smile personally in the chemical level, but also to others whom you see, and now you're giving them that. And
That's
you know,
right.
it's really hard not to smile at another person who's smiling. So now you're providing that same.
And you can completely
kick.
brighten someone's day. You could change someone's day with a smile, literally.
That's right. Totally true. So, and I love helping people smile. So that it all kind of works together. But yes, I think a smile is so important. And it's so, you know what? It's a bit tough, isn't it, right now to be providing that? There is some
for sure
smiling with your eyes going on for sure right now. But but yeah, that's definitely what I would say makes me smile.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Easy. Early bird for sure.
Bird.
I'm pretty much useless after 9 o'clock. So.
Money or fame?
Ooh, what's more useful, isn't it? The case that money will be able to do things with, and fame helps you to like shed light on causes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know. Toss up, really. I wonder. I'm gonna go with I guess fame to help with spreading education about obviously the dental world, and then obviously with some of the causes I work with that I feel very passionately about. So that would be the one, I guess.
Do you have any guilty pleasures? If so, what are they?
Well, I already just told you one, which is shows like The Office.
Yes.
You know, I do like real estate shows as well, but I also love like dark chocolate and, you know, that kind of a thing. So
everybody likes chocolate.
Pretty much anything to do with The Office and, you know, chocolate every day, always.
That coming from a dentist.
You know what, people always get, and you know, when we have patients' birthdays, we do make it special. We have things, and one of the things I do give away is chocolate. I say, you know what, I'm not that kind of dentist anymore. I just straighten the teeth. I don't do any of the cavities or anything like that. So no, but yes, yep, totally.
Awesome. If you had 24 hours left on Earth, what would you do?
Oh, well, I would probably be with my family, and I would grab my family, and luckily being where I am now located in Massachusetts, we're less than an hour from a beach. I'd probably just run to the nearest beach and set up shop there and just hang out and watch the kids play in the ocean. It's just the most joyful thing to me to see. Yeah. So that would be with 24 hours. That would be the thing. Okay.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
It's a piece of advice for my younger self would be, you know, a couple come to mind. I guess, be grateful for the season you are in. A lot of times things are very challenging and difficult. And, I think being grateful for whatever positive thing that you can be during that time, whether it's a person that you happen to meet, even though things aren't going so well, or, you know, even with COVID, I'm grateful that I've had that time to learn parts of my business that I wouldn't have had time to do with and also like be with my family, being grateful for all the hard times as well as the good times, because without failure, there is no success. In fact, there's a little tiny book I read that said, How to Get to Know. And that's the more we can actually achieve failure, the greater success we can have. So those who actually look for failure can have greater success faster. And so I think knowing that and being grateful for those failures instead of kind of killing, really beating yourself up over it. I'm learning it now. And I would have loved to know it, you know, B+ isn't the end of the world, right? Or whatever the case may be. And so that kind of a thing.
Failure is part of the journey. You're right. You cannot succeed without failure. That's how you learn. That's how you improve. That's how you get better. You just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back at it again. You have to fail. You have to.
It's part
of the journey.
Yeah. And it's so hard because you don't want to be a failure in your business. You don't want to be a failure with something, that campaign or whatever the case may
Right.
be. And you have to, without failure, you won't get better. And that means you're also, if you're not failing, you're not really trying new things, right? So you're not growing.
That's
And so
right.
that's I'm trying to learn to, as failures are just as important as successes.
Yeah, that's right. 100%. And I think we need to instill those values in our kids when they're young. Teach
Right.
them and let them learn that it's okay to fail. It's part of it. You have to fail in order to succeed in life. So failure is
Right.
it's not a bad word. It's not a bad thing. It's part of
Right.
life. And the sooner you learn that, the better it'll be. So I think that type of thing, those values or ideals need to be ingrained in our children from a very young age.
That's right. Wow. What an excellent point to try to really work toward actively. Finding ways for them to fail and just talk about it, even if it's small ones, so that way they can kind of learn it.
Well, see,
get that muscle memory.
I think that's the funny thing when it comes to entrepreneurship and whatnot, that the failures aren't discussed very much. You don't hear a lot about people's failures. You only hear about the successes. And I think that we need to discuss the failures more. That needs to be shown to be, because I think entrepreneurship becomes romanticized as this amazing thing, and people jump in not realizing how much work it is and how much time you have to put in and the work that you have to put in. They just think, because they hear about all the successes, oh, I'm going to start a business. That's easy. I can pick my hours. I only have to work when I want to. And no, it's not like that at all. It's like having 2 or 3 full-time jobs.
Of course. Yes. And how many times you have to fail, or you do fail on the way. Yeah. That's when I hear those stories, I feel so grateful to know, well, this amazing orthodontist with this thriving practice had these several failures to get to this point, and went through, 10 staff members or whatever the case may be. And or had a career choice and failed at it. It wasn't what they wanted and went to the next thing. It's just a wonderful way to kind of feel like you too can do it, and know what it's like if you enter it, and what the real truth is, for sure.
That's right. Yes. That's right, for sure.
Love it.
To what extent do you think that we shape our own destiny, and how much is left up to fate?
I think, I obviously think destiny or circumstance or random happenings play a role in everybody's life. Of course, if I didn't have that amazing science teacher, what if I'd had an amazing art teacher, and that kind of rubbed me that way, and I went a different way, or whatever the case may be. It plays a role that I had her and joined a club and loved it. But it also has to do with what you have, some kind of that you work towards, and your work ethic, what works for you as a person. So it's probably a bit of both, I would say. Both are important, and both are part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like?
Last 30 seconds, what would I want to kind of leave the world with?
Mm-hmm.
With all my millions of followers, really, because they would want to know. They really would. So this is a great question. No, I'm teasing. I think for me, it would be something that we touched on, which is last 30-second speech is find a life that is based in service. At the end of the day, nobody cares about how many zeros you have in your bank account, or how many follows you have. I just mentioned that, or what kind of car you drive, what house you live in. People will remember how you made them feel, and people will remember what you've done for your local community, your greater global community, or the impact you've had on those around you, whether it be personally or virtually. Those things are what matter. So find a life of service, something that really speaks to you, and try to find a way to fulfill that piece of yourself, and then put everything else kind of on top of that. Let that be the foundation, and then put the rest of your life around that initial piece. That would be my
well said.
Oh, well, once in a while. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mindy, for agreeing to be a guest on my podcast and share a bit about your story and your journey. And
Of course. Yeah.
Just be part of this movement that I'm growing here. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I appreciate what you do and what you bring to the table as a female entrepreneur. And we need much more of that. So thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for agreeing to be part of this. It's been wonderful chatting with you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of the Empowerography Podcast. My guest today has been Mindy Altemose. She is a board-certified orthodontist and mama based in Massachusetts. Thanks, Mindy. I hope you have an amazing afternoon.
You as well. Take care.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.